Did you know that over 1.5 million Ford Pintos were sold in the United States between 1970 and 1980? That's a lot of cars on the road. But did you also know that the Ford Pinto was involved in a criminal trial? A trial that would change the way that we think about corporate responsibility forever. This is the story of the Ford Pinto criminal trial, a legal battle that rocked the auto industry and raised questions about safety, ethics, and corporate accountability. In this video, we're going to explore the events that led to that trial, discuss the significance of the case, and investigate the aftermath of the verdict and how it impacts corporate America today. The Ford Pinto was a subcompact car produced by the Ford Motor Company in the 1970s. It was designed to be an affordable, fuel-efficient car that would appeal to young drivers and families. But there was a problem. The car's fuel tank design had deadly consequences. In real-world accidents, the design of the fuel tank would cause it to rupture in collisions and burst into flames, often with fatal consequences. The danger was well known to Ford, as internal documents would later reveal. There was a memo written by Ford's then Vice President, Lee Iacocca, which stated that fixing the design of the Flaw would cost $11 per car. But the company had also calculated that settling lawsuits resulting from the accidents caused by the defect would only cost them about $2.40 per car. So despite knowing the risks, Ford decided not to redesign the fuel system or recall the cars. The company claimed that the fuel system met government standards and that the accidents involving the Ford Pinto were no dangerous than other cars at the time. The decision to produce the Ford Pinto despite the design flaw raised many questions about corporate responsibility and ethics. Why did Ford decide to produce the Pinto even though they knew that it had deadly consequences? One reason was the intense competition in the subcompact car market at the time. Ford was under pressure to produce a car that was affordable, fuel efficient, and could compete with other popular models like Volkswagen's Beetle or Chevy's Vega. Another reason was the cost-benefit analysis that Ford had performed when it decided not to fix the flaw. The company had actually calculated that the cost of settling the lawsuits, because of deaths, would be less than the cost of redesigning the fuel system. These circumstances, combined with poor decision-making by Ford executives, led to the criminal trial of the company and several of its executives, the first ever criminal trial against the corporation in America. The trial was sparked by a tragic accident in 1978, in which a Ford Pinto was rear-ended by another car, causing the fuel tank to rupture and catch fire. The accident resulted in the death of 3 teenage girls who were trapped in the car and burned to death. The families of the victims sued Ford for negligence and wrongful death, and the prosecution eventually took the case to a criminal trial. They claimed that Ford knew about the design flaw, they consciously decided not to fix it, and they knew about the danger that it posed to drivers and passengers. Therefore, Ford and its executives were guilty of reckless homicide. The trial lasted several months, and in the end, Ford and its executives were found not guilty of the criminal charges. However, they did end up settling numerous lawsuits in the following years, eventually recalling the cars and redesigning the fuel system, but the damage had really already been done. The trial had been closely watched by the public, the media, and corporate America. It had raised important questions about product liability, corporate responsibility, and the value of human life in a capitalist society. The United States had been so focused on growing capitalism as a concept after the Second World War that the role of humans within that had often been ignored. The trial exposed how corporate America had gained power, gained secrecy, and had been involved in numerous cover-ups. It also showed that the government would no longer tolerate this, and that companies would now be held accountable for their actions. The Ford Pinto case is very important. It shows that companies need to prioritize safety over profits, that they need to be transparent, accountable, and ethical. It's a cautionary tale for entrepreneurs, small business owners, and startups in many ways. First, the case highlights the importance of safety and ethics. Small businesses often face intense pressure to cut costs and release products as soon as possible to increase revenues. You cannot do that at the cost of ethics and safety. Second, it underscores the importance of transparency and accountability in business. Startups and small businesses need to be upfront about any potential risks associated with their products or services. They need to take the steps required to address those risks before they become a larger problem. Third, the case is a reminder of the potential consequences of neglecting product safety. In the age of social media and online reviews, one product defect or scandal could quickly go viral and damage a company's reputation or bottom line. Small businesses and startups should take product safety very seriously. It's very costly to have to recall a product, to deal with a lawsuit, and even more so to lose consumer trust. The Ford Pinto case is an important reminder of the corporate need for transparency and responsibility. In particular, the case has important implications in many emerging technology fields. A very obvious one is autonomous vehicles and self-driving cars. For example, Tesla. The rollout of its full self-driving technology has been the subject of controversy and scrutiny. Critics argue that the technology is not yet fully safe or reliable, and that Tesla is rushing to release it to consumers without proper testing and regulation. Just a few weeks ago, Tesla had to recall 363,000 cars due to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration determining that they were safety risks. These cars would drive themselves right through stop signs, right into intersections. They would stop suddenly on the highway, all because this technology is not yet ready for the road. Tesla is an incredible example of a company that's ignored the history of corporate responsibility, and now in many ways they're facing the consequences of that. The Ford Pinto case should really serve as a cautionary tale for Tesla and any other companies working on autonomous vehicle technology, AI, any leading edge technology that might actually negatively impact people if rolled out too quickly. Companies must prioritize safety and ethics over profits. They need to be transparent about the potential risks associated with their products. If technology is not yet safe or reliable, it should not be released to the public until it has been thoroughly tested. Now, if you're starting your own company, make sure that you consider this. I know for many, it seems as if this is not related to you, especially when you're starting a small company and you're just trying to get off the ground. But it's important from the start to embed these values in your corporate culture, or else you risk legal problems down the line. Now, if you feel that there's someone who needs to hear this message and learn about this case, please share this video with your friends. And if you enjoyed it, I'd greatly appreciate if you could like and subscribe. Thank you.